This is what we know. It was the early morning hours of January 29th. Smollett had just gotten back to Chicago, posting on Instagram that he had just spent 7 hours on a plane for a flight that was supposed to take only 2 hours. He told the police that as he was walking back from a sandwich shop, the Subway sandwich shop, that two men attacked him, putting a rope around his neck and, quote, yelling out racial and homophobic slurs and pouring an unknown chemical substance on him. This was all in the Streeterville neighborhood where he had been staying. I know that neighborhood very well. I worked there for 3 years at the NBC Tower in Streeterville, so I know it very, very, very well. In a supplemental interview with authorities, Smollett confirmed what had already been reported in the media, claiming that one of the attackers also shouted, "This is MAGA country." In those early morning hours of the 29th, Smollett took himself to Northwestern Memorial Hospital with a friend. And as you may know, Jussie is gay, and since 2015, he has played a gay character, Jamal Lyons, on Empire. So it's a little bit personal for me, and I'll tell you why, because that's when I met him. I was asked to come on the show, play myself in a little cameo. He introduced himself, and he said, I'm a big fan. I love your work. It's good to have you here on the set. Very nice guy. We chatted for a couple times after that. I saw him maybe when he came to New York a couple times. I know him. Not best friends, but I do know him. So I spoke to him while he was at the hospital. His friend who was there texted me in the middle of the night and said, "Hey, this happened to Jussie." I called a friend. The friend happened to be there, and he said, "Oh, Jussie's here. Here's the phone." So he told me in his own words what he said happened. But I've also got to tell you, to be quite honest, that a lot of people, including people in the community, people of color and gay people, had questions about this from the very beginning, the veracity of this story. A lot of people were reasonably skeptical about Jussie's story. Some of the details just didn't seem to make sense. And as we always say around here, facts first. But the facts raised a lot of questions. Police told CNN that authorities had video of Smollett entering the Lowe's Chicago after the alleged attack, and he still had what appeared to be a noose around his neck. Police spokesman Anthony Guglielmi said that Smollett told detectives that the two men who he said attacked him yelled Empire and a slur against gay people and Empire N-word. And then there's the letter. On January 22nd, a week before the alleged attack, what appeared to be a threatening letter containing a white powder was received at Cinespace Studios in Chicago. That's where Empire is filmed. CNN has obtained a copy of that letter last week, shared by a person close to Jussie Smollett. It included a message apparently cut from magazine clippings and a stick figure drawing, which Jussie described to ABC News as a stick figure hanging from a tree, which had a gun pointing towards it. The letter was addressed to Jussie, included MAGA on the outside of the envelope in place of the return address. Authorities determined the powder was aspirin, but declined to give details on the content of the letter and said the FBI was leading the investigation into it. The FBI. That's trouble. Police said they received what they call limited and redacted phone records from Smollett. All of that raises, honestly, so many questions. As I said, there were credible reasons to be skeptical of this, and there were a lot of people who were. Who's going to be out in the frigid cold streets of Chicago in the middle of the night looking for an Empire star? You've got to be bundled up in that kind of cold. How would they even know it's you? And let's be honest, there are probably not a whole lot of MAGA fans watching Empire. And that letter, it looks like something out of a bad movie. Why not just hand over your phone to police? Yes, there will be things on your phone that you want to keep private. But If there are also things that prove your story, isn't it worth the handover? Officer, I have personal things on here I don't want people to see. I'm trusting you, but I want these guys to be caught. So here is my phone. The details just didn't seem to add up. Jussie went on with Robin Roberts last week.
What other ones had you heard that were inaccurate?
That I had said that they were wearing MAGA hats. I never said that. I didn't need to add anything like that. They called me a. They called me a. There's no which way you cut it. I don't need some MAGA hat as the cherry on top of some racist sundae.
You know what? He didn't need some MAGA hat on top of all that. If even half or less happened the way he said it, it's bad enough. We shouldn't forget, innocent until proven guilty, of course. Innocent until proven guilty. But like I said, a lot of this just doesn't add up. And if Jussie's story isn't true, he squandered the goodwill of a whole lot of people. He even lied to a lot of people, if it's not true, including me. And that's not cool. He squandered the goodwill of very high-profile people who may one day be running this country, like Kamala Harris and Cory Booker, and people like President Trump.
I want to ask you about Jussie Smollett. Have you heard about that story? The actor from Empire who was allegedly attacked with racist and homophobic.
That I can tell you is horrible. I've seen it last night. I think that's horrible. It doesn't get worse, as far as I'm concerned.
Like I said, there were questions about Jussie's story from the very beginning, questions he still needs to answer. Innocent until proven guilty, but a whole lot of people want to hear from him. What happened, Jussie?